Welcome. You're listening to Nuditea, a podcast where we get naked with our feelings while drinking tea. On this podcast, we talk about topics surrounding sex and food. Today is a continuation of our topic on sex talks and puberty talks. I am solo again today because Wendy could not be here. But today I have two guests, both sisters of mine, one biological, one not, and I'll get them to introduce themselves.
I'm the biological sister. I'm Wendy, and I'm Kimberly's oldest sister, I guess. I'm the oldest of, there's 6 siblings in our family, so I'm the oldest of that group, and I am married and have one child.
I'm Nicole. I am the adopted one. Air quotes. I am the youngest of 2, and I'm married with 2 children, a little girl and a little boy.
Thank you for joining me today. So let's start off with describe your first period talk and your sex talk. When did it happen? Who gave it to you? How do you feel? How did you feel afterwards? Stuff like that.
We didn't really get a period talk in my family. So it was school. Probably, I think it was in grade 6 that we were spoken to about it. Grade 5, maybe. And I got mine going into grade 6. It was kind of surprising. White jeans and period blood do not get along.
Of course that would happen to you.
And then I went to church afterwards with the white jeans and period blood on them.
Really?
Yeah.
Church?
I was at my aunt's house and they had nothing there. They had nothing. I used toilet paper. But it was my sister I had approached and I talked to her about it.
This was after
I had it. So I knew it was going to happen because of school. Mm-hmm. But my mom never really sat down and talked to us about it. It's not that she didn't, she showed us that we had stuff available, like pads and tampons. More so pads. She wasn't a big tampon fan. But that was the basis of her talk. It was more school. And then my sister talked to me about it.
And your mom didn't, she just said, these are the things. Did she show you how to apply it or no?
No, there was no application process. It was me figuring it out and sticking it on and wearing baggy clothes to
hide the fact
I was having a period and I was wearing. My family was cheap. We bought really, really cheap feminine products. So I'm talking diaper pads.
We did too.
And there was no always with wings and ultra thins. It was thick, heavy duty things that you couldn't even wear with a pair of jeans because it was you change your gender.
Before it even absorbed anything.
Exactly. And so I was always in sweatpants. Everyone in my family knew I was on my period because I would be wearing sweatpants, and they're usually my father's sweatpants because we didn't have mine were more girly, lighter colors. I would stick to dark brown, not dark brown. I was thinking of period blood. I would stick to navy or black and wear that for the week, and probably wear the same thing because we didn't have a lot of stuff. But it was my sister that talked to us or talked to me. She barely knew because she got her period randomly. My mom never talked to her.
Not even the here are the products?
Not really, no. So, and she got hers going into grade 5, so she was super young.
Yeah.
And so, she was kind of, thrown for a loop, so she kind of had a little bit more experience in that sense, and so she talked to me about it. After I got mine, though, not while she had hers.
But when you were getting your period, there was no fear of, something's wrong? Because
I wasn't feeling like I was Carrie and dying in the shower.
Okay.
It was because we had school, in the school, when we did it back in the day, they separated the girls and the boys.
They still do. They did that with my
right, and so they separated us, and the girls were able to talk a little bit more freely about what actually would go on. But so I had a sense that I'd be flowing like the Nile.
Yeah.
But I wasn't afraid. It was just...
You didn't pick the Red Sea?
No,
just
the Nile.
That was the obvious one. Okay.
Flowing like the Nile. It was Yeah, I wasn't mortified that it was happening. I was mortified that it happened in white jeans and I was sleeping at my aunt's and I was going to church.
Reasonable, yes.
Yeah, but not for the fact that it was happening. Yeah, it didn't scare me.
Wendy?
I think for us, I'm trying to remember if I ever had a period talk, and at first I was going to say no, and then as Nicole was talking, I think it was more like we had a large family, very open house. We always shared the bathroom with people getting ready, and I would know. There was a point where I realized Mom had a pad on, and I would ask her what that was all about. And then she ended up telling me sort of about what happened and the cycle, and then I probably asked her questions like here or there, and I got my period super late, so I was definitely ready for it and like hoping it would come. I think I was in grade 9 or 10. Like my younger sister even had her period before me. Like I was waiting, and I had lots of time to think about it. But like Nicole, we had huge pads, and I think I don't know if it was because of I don't know if that was just what was available, or people were so afraid that they were going to leak everywhere that they were like, more is better, but really I feel like more is just not, it was not absorbent. And then you just feel like you're wearing a diaper and you walk funny. And it makes you, I feel like it was almost part of it was like, it made you feel ashamed, like to be a woman and to have your period, and you're like wearing baggy pants and you're like trying to hide your femininity, and you're ashamed that you're doing this and you feel like you need to hide. And we wore these big, huge, like uncomfortable pads because it's almost like we were meant to just feel uncomfortable and shameful when we were having these period. And maybe I think the better pads were out there, but we just did it. My parents just didn't wear them, but I don't think they were widestream or something. Widestream. I'm not sure it was widespread or something like that.
Choice of words.
So I don't know. They've come a long way, but I can't even wear those anymore.
But it was a prompting made by your questioning, basically.
I think I asked Mom like, what is that all about?
Well, I think because it did take you longer to get your first cycle, right?
But
so
I
you were anticipating it.
No, but I knew early. I think I knew early. Like I think I was waiting for it since in grade 6, but I did not want it at that point. But then it came to a point where I was like, oh my god, come on. But I knew about it early because we're very like, we share the bathroom in our family.
Yeah.
It's like,
there were so many of you.
I know. The sex talk one, eh?
Because you same school, Tyanaga.
Yeah.
Right.
TYEND INAGA. Let's go. No.
Exactly.
No.
So do you remember the puberty talk in
I guess
school?
not as much. I think I don't remember that being how I learned about it. I think I learned about it from Mom.
But the thing with it in being in school, that age, you were super like, oh, penis. Like you were so uncomfortable and embarrassed, right, to talk
People
about
are
it.
still doing that into high school.
It's because you're so mature. So it was write your question down, put it in a box. We'll read it and answer it out loud.
Which is a great way to do it. No.
What was that SNL one?
A dick in a
box. Step 1.
Get a box.
Step 2. Cut a hole in the box. Step 3. Put your dick in the box.
Great segue into going from puberty, period talks into your first sex talk. It was clearly not explained to you by Lonely Island.
Lonely Island.
The people who made that song.
No, definitely not by them. It was in school. Like, my first encounter of sex was like walking in with my brother, my half brother, and his girlfriend at the time, having sex. And I was like, whoa. And then second encounter was walking in on my parents, having sex, and then finding
in your house.
And then, I know, right? And then finding walking in on my sister and her boyfriend having sex, but not knowing they were having sex because I didn't know what they were doing.
A real, like, Nature Channel kind of
introduction.
to
Yeah. As well as, like, finding, like, a vibrator in my mother's purse and being like, what is this? Like, we're out in public. Like, I don't know what this is.
Is she carrying it around in her purse?
She used it quite frequently, I guess. I don't know. I guess, like, from, like, being in church and abstinence is the way to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was pushed a little bit more so, but sex talk was school.
Mm-hmm.
My sister got pregnant when she was 14, and I knew I wanted nothing to do with sex after that. Kissing, I was afraid. Like, I was gonna get pregnant, so I just avoided it. I remember the first conversation I had with my mother about sex was after the fact that I had sex, and we were driving, and I said to my mom, I was about coming home at Christmas, and the guy I was seeing, he'd come with me, and we would be staying in the same bedroom, and I was 20, like I wasn't a teen anymore. Mm-hmm. I was 21. And she's like, well, you'll have to talk to your dad about that. And I'm like, Mom, like, I've been living on my own for like 3 years already. Like, what are you expecting? Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, you just have to talk to your dad. And I'm like, Mom, we're having sex. And she swerves off the road. And she stopped and she's like, I knew you were having sex and we should talk about this and we should take you in to see the doctor. And that was a whole crazy experience.
With your mom?
With my mom and dad came to me with me to go to my gynecologist. They waited in the truck for me.
You had a gynecologist?
We went to the gynecologist, and keep in mind this is the same gynecologist or OB that delivered me as a baby. She's older, and so I went in and first she commented on, like, I had some piercings and commented on that, and then commented on the fact that I was larger and said it was that I need to take care of myself. And then she stuck her finger in my butt. And I was a little caught off guard, and I remember going out to the truck, and my dad was sitting in the back and my mom was sitting in the front, and I got in the front seat with my mom, and she's like, so like, how did that go? And I sat there with, like, a bewilderment. Like, my family's fairly open, we're fairly liberated. We usually talk about stuff that's going on, and I said, well, is it normal for them to stick their finger in my bum? And my dad laughed, and my mom's like, no. I'm like,
really?
So I never went back to her again.
Did she, like, get
and
the
I got
wrong
birth control.
hole?
Yeah. No, she stuck her fingers in the other hole too. But she stuck her fingers in my bum, and
Well, I guess she was checking for cancer or something.
possibly, I don't know. But, like, since then I've been to multiple other gynecologists, and they definitely don't stick their finger in my bum.
That's so random that your dad would do.
Yeah, it was a family event.
It's like
they took me
on the agenda.
It's like, as much as they didn't talk to me about sex, or we were open enough to be like, okay, well, this is gonna happen, so they came with me and it was fine. But sex was not my sister got pregnant, so it was, I don't want that, so I'm not having sex. Mm-hmm. And I didn't until I was 21.
I will say I do love that your dad came with you as well.
Yeah,
I love that it was a joint.
Yeah, Mom and Dad both came. It was, well, Dad's like, I'm coming. And they didn't go in with me. They waited in the truck. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm 21. Mm-hmm. But they waited and supported me. But it was just, I'm glad they got a good chuckle. And I'm glad I wasn't, like, completely mortified about the bum thing.
Yeah.
It kind of made me realize I kind of like my bum touched. But that came later in life too, yeah. So
awakening in the OBGYN. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that enlightenment, Dr. Brazil. But yeah, it wasn't much of a conversation as for sitting down and talking, well, this is what's going to happen. And it was, I never really dated. And so I don't think my parents thought they had to worry about me.
Right. Wendy?
So I think I definitely had a talk with Mom about sex.
After the fact?
No.
Before the
way
fact.
before.
She also recalls having a talk with you.
Yeah, like I think I was grade 8. I think I asked a question at the table the one day, like, okay, so I know that a husband and wife, like, have to love each other to have a baby, and there's an egg and a sperm, but how does the sperm get into the woman's body? Like, how does this happen? And then I think at that point, there might have been a quick little, like, I think it's time for the talk or something.
But it's not dinner table talk? Not like now.
Yeah, no.
I mean, they could have all done it in one go.
Yeah.
That would have saved a lot of time.
We're really little, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. So after dinner, I was kind of like, oh God, what does this mean? What's happening? Like, why is this such a big deal? Like, I won't answer this question right now. So then we go down. It's like the most awkward, too. We went downstairs. We sat on the couch in the basement and just sat beside each other, and Mom explained, when you love somebody very much, you don't just kiss and blah, 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 you have sex, and this is what happens, and I was mortified. I was like, I think I was sick to my stomach. Like, I was like, you do what? That you choose to do this? I was traumatized. I think for days after, like the next day, going to school, all I could think about was all these people that I knew that were husband and wife that were having sex, and all I could imagine was them having sex, and this probably was for a number of months even. Like, I was like, oh my God, they have sex. They have sex. This is the most disgusting
mental picture.
thing. I'm like, I'm never doing that ever. I think I said that. I'm like, Mom, I'm never doing this. Yeah, just disgusting. I'm like, I think I was like, I'm never having babies. Is that what's what you have to do?
Do you think there would have been a better way for Mother to explain it, that you wouldn't have been so mortified, or do you think that was inevitable?
I feel like it might have just been inevitable. Well, I think it's partly because of the way our family grew up, where sex was not talked about at all. So it was like such a taboo topic that we were not open. It was so hush hush. Getting that deep and knowing that happens was so shocking.
It's like 0 to 180.
Yeah, that I was like, I knew, like, I think it was inevitable that it would feel that way. But I think if it was much more open and maybe there was a little bit more affection shown or discussed in our family, and maybe that sex wasn't hidden in every, like, we were so sheltered with shows we were watching, all that stuff, that maybe it would have, like, not been so shocking if I had been, but it was, like, honestly, I had no idea. I was clueless, and then all of a sudden I'm like, holy crap, this happens, because we were so sheltered. And I think grade 8, I don't think is super young to have this explained to you.
I would say so.
There were people in our grade 8 class having sex.
So I think it was just the fact that we lived so sheltered, and that, so it was just really shocking. And I don't think there was any other way I think it was explained fine. To me, I think it was just the fact that we don't talk about it.
You go from kissing to, like, being able to see someone kissing to that, yeah,
and then it was wrong. It was always like, sex is wrong. And then after that, it's the abstinence thing, right? So there's, like, always, like, it's still, we don't talk about it.
How was the sex education you received from school? Do you think it was pretty sufficient, or do you think there's some things that you wish they'd maybe delved into more? And I guess, when did you receive the most sex education?
Miss Broadbear, grade 9, grade 10, in our health class. That's what I remember. That's what I remember being the most prominent, like, sticking out to me, of, like, actually being able to talk about it. And even because at that point was it all girls? Yeah, it was an all girls class, and so we feel a little bit more comfortable talking about it. Again, there was the writing the questions down, but they weren't holding back as far as talking about sexual diseases, contraception, but nothing about masturbation.
I don't really remember much. Like, and I think it was very surface.
Yeah.
Like, it was very, like, scientific. Like, this is, I feel like they could deal with more emotions. This is such a girl thing. If I feel like there could be a little bit more talked about and, like, yeah, but you can't because emotions are so different and they're giving us very basic, like, factual things.
But I feel like it's gotten more swayed towards that way now.
I even
More
think
emotional or more factual?
it's hard because I almost think that sometimes teachers are handcuffed because they go too emotional with it and they don't treat it very much like this is a penis, this is a vagina, all this stuff. Parents get
I think
mad at them or uncomfortable with what school's teaching them.
Well, because even at that point, I remember they let us know that they were talking about it. But now I know in elementary school, they send letters home saying that they're going to talk about it. But that's in elementary school.
Yeah, I don't say she got one letter.
I feel like we talked about it in elementary, grade 6.
Yeah, no, but it was very blanketed. Like, it was a general, just
it was very
simple
surface stuff, but I guess you kind of have to. But I feel like there's so much more these days to talk about.
Yeah, there's like your choice of like sexual nature.
Yeah.
Like people like lesbians, transgender.
And that was never talked about.
Never. Asexual. Exactly. Everything that's kind of surfacing in the last few years now, but that was never, ever spoke about.
If anybody was like
kind of struggling
and
struggling with that feeling or trying to figure out what's going on with themselves, that was never an option to make them feel comfortable to talk about it.
It's almost now they have to focus more on the emotional. I would say
because it's such an emotional
but I feel like you still, like, as a teacher, have to show the stuff about, like, the actual acts and the diseases and what's the options out there. I think they have to be still very factual and, like, scientific about it, because as a teacher that I don't know what are all the options out there, sort of, and I don't have personal experience with all that stuff. So then, like, you have to be like, these are the options. These are resources that you can go to. Like, I have no idea. Like, it must be so hard right now.
Did they cover oral and anal?
It was nothing. It was basically sex.
They gave us a condom, literally, and gave us a banana. I remember, it sounds like something from a movie. But I remember doing that, condom, and how a condom goes on a banana, because as women, we were still responsible for that.
Because we know a guy in this situation, and I'm thinking about that.
Exactly. So we had to do that, and they had a visual aid that was clear plastic, something that you would probably see in a gynecologist's office, of like of a woman's organs. And it was clear, and I remember just them saying that this is your vagina, and this is where the penis goes in. Yeah.
And I think sometimes the people that were teaching it too, like,
were
kind of like, scary.
Yeah, Miss Broadbear was pretty scary.
Yeah.
So both of you have young children. What are your plans for broaching the puberty talk and /sex talk? Do you think there's a perfect age versus maybe just looking for signs and questions that they give you? Would you approach it with both parents always talking with the child? And what feelings do you think you're gonna have for that moment?
I know, as a mother of a daughter, like my oldest daughter's 3. She's in the bathroom with me constantly. And with just recently getting my menstrual cycle back from after having my son, like, she's seen me put pads on. She's helped me. She thinks they're stickers. Like, she like peels them and sticks them to the bathtub. And I'm like, no, like, I tell her, no, these are for mommy's panties. And like, she sees if I, like, she's in the bathroom and I go to the bathroom and she sees blood on them. And I'm like, this is just what happens right now, and mommy has to wear it. Like, so it's already started the conversation.
See, I'm not, like, I'm gonna be very open to like that kind of thing, but I'm afraid because now we're tampons. So, like, if I'm putting things up me, then they're gonna try to copy, because I'm like, I really do try to be like, okay, give me some space. Like,
Yeah.
I need to do this because at this age, I don't want them to be coming up. But he goes out and he, like, brings the whole box of tampons out and plays with them. And we're like...
Yeah. And what do you... No, you can't play with them.
He's
why
walked
can't you
around
play
with
them?
our lube.
Yeah.
Around the house. Like, I'm like, Calvin, if you only knew.
No, Hannah found my vibrator.
In your purse?
No. And when I said, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna have to find another place for that. And I'm like, okay, let me take that slowly. Approach you so you don't run.
Yeah.
Pretend it's a lollipop.
Yeah, I was like, oh god.
But no, so it's already started with her, and I'm going to continuously talk to her. I hope that she's completely comfortable talking to me and asking me anything when she needs to, and I'm hoping that when it gets closer and I can explain it a little bit more when she starts understanding a little bit more about her body. Mm-hmm. But I'm totally wanting to immerse her into it and make sure she knows what's happening and be prepared. Like, I want to sew her a little bag to keep some, like, pads in and some tampons in just in case it happens at school or something like that. Just or happening at church. Just so she is prepared. I want her to be able to have that and not feel ashamed. So if she wants a certain pad, she's gonna get a certain pad and not a granny thick.
They still exist out there.
They do because I've used them after having a baby.
Oh yeah.
That's why they're still there.
Yeah.
Right?
The diapers.
That's the thing. Like, they're used.
I think I wore one time because I needed to use from somebody's, like, probably mom or something. And I was like, I feel like I've just had a baby. I can't even walk with this thing.
So now I know what they're actually used for.
Yeah.
So I'm wanting to talk to her and I'm wanting to educate her, and I'm hoping that she is ready to ask questions and not embarrassed or ashamed like I felt. Mm-hmm. So, and my son, he's gonna know what's happening. He's gonna have 2 women in the house that when her cycle happens, we're gonna sync up and it's gonna be like craziness. Yeah. And so, like, I want him to be prepared on both sides, like, to know the actual technicality of what's happening, but also to understand a woman's point of view and how they're feeling behind it, because it's not just gushing out. It's your mind is crazy. Women go mad. Like, why is mom eating so much right now? Well, it's probably on her period, and you don't want that to be a negative connotation. You want to be like, it's just a fact. Yeah. Like, oh, why does mommy have a heating pad on her belly? Or why is she just laying down? Or why is there red marks on the back of mommy's bum? Mommy, what's that?
You're dying.
What's going on? Let me call 911. Like, he needs to be prepared. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to offer that to him.
So, do you want your child to have both information on both the male and the female? So with your daughter Nicole, do you want her also maybe for your husband to talk to her about, like, when boys hit puberty, this is what they're going through, and same with your son Wendy?
I think it's important that they get it from both sides, like, and understand. Like, I was thinking as you were saying, like, about your daughter already knowing what's happening during your period and stuff like that. I want my son to still know about that too, and not be ashamed and not feel like it's like that. I don't want to talk about it. Like, I don't want to know. It's totally normal. It's not that I'm like, we should be ashamed that this is happening. This is part of the cycle, and I want him to be able to be like, oh yeah, this is what's happening. This is normal, and not to be grossed out about it. And I want him to understand what's happening with me, and I want his dad to ultimately give him the talk about sex and what's happening in their body, because I just don't understand. Like, I should not be giving him that discussion, like that talk, and my husband will understand how to probably phrase it and talk to him about it better than I will, but I want to be able to talk to my son afterwards and be like, so you talked to dad, do you have any questions for me? You want to, like, you know, I'm there, like, I'm open to talk, just to know that it's open. But like Nicole was saying, she wants it to be a house where it's not like sex and the body is not a shameful thing, that it's open so that they can come and ask questions freely whenever they want, and they'll maybe be a little bit less, it'll be less shocking for them, unlike for me, like they'll be around it more. It's not going to be like that taboo topic.
But will you also, obviously being open there, be like, do you have any questions for me? Do you want him to ask you, like, oh, how does the female deal with it? Or do you think he might not necessarily think like that right to start, and maybe like offer that up to him, or just kind of wait it out?
I'll just have to wait it out and see what he's like.
Okay.
No, it's definitely giving, like, I don't think my daughter fully understands when she's seen me have it, but she knows something's happening, that's something different. Yeah, she's treating my pads as stickers, but I'm not going to stop her from... Yeah, she's in panties now. Like, if she wants to stick a pad on her panties, all means, stick a pad on your panties. If mommy's doing it, I'm cool. I'm not going to stop her from doing that. People might look at me weird.
No.
But that's how it is. Like, I want our children to be able to be so comfortable to be joking around about it. Like, when they get to the age when my daughter has her period, my son be like, oh, she just has her period, just stay away.
Yeah.
Or like, but in a way of he's joking around but still understanding the background of it, right? Like, it's no big deal.
Because there's something like, there'll be embarrassing things that happen as a boy that we don't understand. So I think we just all need to be open and aware of what's happening, and that things go on, we're different and things happen, and we just have to understand and appreciate it and be mindful of it, I think.
Do you think you prefer to do it verbally, or is it just going to be like a mismatch of, here's some literature, here's like a video that deals with the topic, not like outright, like, or do you think you can even also rely on, maybe you can even deal more with the emotional impact of sex in puberty, while maybe the school system can all like deal with that more factual, or is it just a mismatch of it all?
I think I would want to provide both, because I don't know exactly what the school is providing for her. I'm not sitting there. I'm not the one teaching her in that classroom as well as the other students, so I don't know exactly what she's hearing.
I also don't know all the stuff out there.
Yeah.
And like, I might not be able to give advice on some of it. Who knows? Like, my children could, like, I don't know.
They might not be heteronormative.
Yeah, so I don't know how to even answer some of the questions that may come up, but I want them to be able to talk to me about it.
And let them know that if I don't have the answer, we'll get that for you.
Yeah.
So if that's a video or literature or talking to someone else that maybe have went through or is going through the same type of thing, and to be able to provide that information for them. I don't want them to never think, just because they don't think we have the answer, we're not going to get it for them. But there's so many great like literature books out there that you can start when they're like 4, 5, 6, talking to them about their body and being comfortable about their body and kind of know what's happening, and not like you can buy certain ones that are just for females, certain ones just for males. I would probably I want my daughter to know the male anatomy just as much as my son the female anatomy. Like, my daughter obviously knows it's something different down there. She had a shower with Daddy and came down and said, Daddy has a penis. Oh, well, what's a penis? And, well, it's there, and like, it's there. Like, that's all. Like, she's like, it's just a penis.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, boys have penises. And I'm like, what do girls have? Vaginas. And now that she has a baby brother, she helps change diapers. That definitely doesn't look like mine. So, like, starting young, I'm able, because I have one of each, she sees physically the anatomy and it's different, right? So we've started so young, and we've had showers together. She has showers with me, she has showers with her daddy. Like, so she sees the difference there too. She sees the difference on my body compared to hers. My vagina's fuzzy. Hers is not.
My son, like, I know we've been starting because of the potty training thing to be much more open in the bathroom so we can see like what we're doing. So he'll come in and he'll like honestly walk basically under me as I'm like wiping, like, no. I think he's already realizing it's different because he'll see his dad too, and yeah, they're curious. They know.
Yeah, it's not, maybe they don't say something verbally.
I don't want it to be something that they can't talk about. I want to be very open.
Is there a certain age where you're like, okay, maybe I really do need to start talking about this if they haven't been talking about it, or find someone they're willing to talk to that you trust?
Regarding sex and just in general, just everything.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening in the world anymore. I'm so old. Like, I don't know when things, like, I feel like it's probably like grade 6 or something.
Well, and
stuff is so early now.
Well, and that's the thing. My sister got her menstrual cycle going into grade 4.
I think you need to kind of understand your own child's timeline, like their body. Like, you can kind of sense if a child is a girl is gonna have her period early. Like, you could tell that I was gonna be a late bloomer. Like, I could tell you were gonna be early, Nicole. Like, we have very different bodies, but I think you can kind of gauge on like how old they are, but
their mental capacity.
Their mental capacity. But if they haven't asked questions by like grade 8
about sex, probably specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then
you gotta.
But I feel like they're gonna know by then. Like, there's so much. And that grade 8 for me was probably the age where I was like, if I had in our time, that I would have talked about it to them. But I think now it's probably going to be like grade 3. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing. Sex ed,
When does it start?
it's starting earlier now. It's starting like grade 4, grade 5.
Yeah.
Now,
not like a very in-depth level.
No, but the basic, like,
because that's when kids are starting to figure things out, and
media.
Yeah, it's
social media. It has such an impact on what is out there and what you see, what they hear, what they learn, what they take in. And now that it's so much more prevalent, you don't know what your daughter or son's watching at your friend's house for sure. Like, you may know their family, but they could be in their room watching something on a tablet or on a computer that may not be what you think they're watching.
I think you just want to be early to bring. I think you want to ask them the question, or ask them if you ever want to talk with. I don't know. You kind of want to talk with this or whatever, and bring it up early, just so you know that they can get a sort of a baseline, that you understand what information they're getting, because I don't know. And maybe just briefly touch on it, and then they can come ask more questions when they're ready, or they know that they can.
Yeah, let them open the gate. Open the gate. Open the gate and let them know that it's
you're something totally different.
that you're there and ready to talk if they need to. Maybe gate wasn't the right word. Open the door. I don't know. Open the curtain. What else? Yeah. Like you want them to know that you give them the basics information, but let them know. Like, I would start probably around grade 3, grade 4.
I think so.
And start talking about it and being comfortable talking about it. And then hopefully
they ask questions.
They feel a little bit more comfortable and broaching the subjects with you.
Or going and finding some information and then clarifying it with you or something. I don't know.
There's obviously no perfect way to go about this, but obviously looking at just like, it's reassuring that there's, our parents' generation who maybe didn't do the most stellar job, but then, we learn from that and we'll continue to get better.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, I'm saying all this now and I'm like, my daughter's gonna walk in on us, like, going at it like freaking rabbits and being like, what are you doing to mommy? And like, okay, well, this is the time. She's only 6, but I don't want her to be traumatized. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it totally, you could say one thing now and it just happened so differently later.
Absolutely. That concludes this talk. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I want to say a big thank you to Nicole and Wendy for joining me today. Thanks for listening. Bye.